Alright, so today I'm going to be doing a video on the Warren 8274, I think is the model. It's an 8,000 pound Warren winch, electrical winch, 12 volt. I'm going to be doing a video on the solenoid replacement. I've got an older model Warren up there on the front of the trailer. I don't know if you can see it. The other day I was winching. I just got this winch. I actually paid $300 for it. When I bought it, I had in mind that the solenoids were probably going to go bad, and sure enough, they ended up smoking and shorting out to a dead short, and now I'm going to have to go ahead and replace them. So you can't replace them. Technically you could replace them with the old style solenoid, which is each individual node. There's 4 different nodes, like I said. But if you contact Warren, they're now using a different solenoid package. So that's what this is. It just came in the mail today. I'm going to go ahead and unbox it and kind of show it to you. And then I'm going to remove the winch and bring it up in here so I can work on it a little bit better. And then I'll show you the old solenoid, the wiring and all that business, and go from there. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and unbox this thing and show you what it looks like. Again, this is from, I got this one off of Amazon. I think I paid close to 200 bucks for it, if I remember right. It might be a little bit more than that, actually. So the winch that I have up on the trailer is actually a 4-terminal remote system, and that's the reason I had to change the remote. So this is a different terminal style. Of course, you only have 2 directions, in and out. So they gave me a new controller with it, and then here is the actual solenoid housing. So it looks like it's got all the wiring that you need for your battery, and then your motor controls. This is your battery wire, and then it's got your 3 different motor controls. So and this is a ground right here. One thing that I read about this winch and that I am noticing right off the bat is that it does not come with directions. So in my experience with Warren, to this point, the documentation that they have for their winches is actually pretty crappy, but their customer service is good. When I first bought that winch, I did a full refurbish on the electronics just to make sure everything was good, because it wasn't working when I bought it. So it was just a grounding problem. I fixed that, and then yeah, I burnt up the solenoids anyway. So here's the new package. I'm going to go ahead and take that winch off, and then I'll resume once I get it in the shop here, and we'll work on taking it off. Alright, so I've went ahead and removed the winch off the trailer. This is the old housing that came with the winch. And again, here's the new housing. So what I got to do is just take the old one off and disconnect the wiring off the motor. These are the old wires. It's pretty self-explanatory. Put you right there. I have some miscellaneous screws in here, because when I bought it, there was only 1 screw holding it on. I need a Phillips, actually. Right here. So the way this housing is actually just held to the whole assembly is by some basically pipe clamps. These little things right here. So here is this is the old. These are the old solenoids. These are notoriously bad, and that's why I said earlier when I bought this winch, I half expected them to be bad in the first place, and sure enough, they went bad. This is actually the one that burned up. It was smoking pretty bad when I did it, so I'm going to go ahead and take it off. And this is a pretty heavy winch, real heavy duty. I can't remember if I said it in the first part of this video, but this is actually, its claim to fame is it's the fastest electric winch. So it is pretty darn quick. And I think I also misspoke earlier when I said the model number. This is actually a 8725, and the 5 is really just because of the year. It's a 8724, so it's the same thing. 8,000 pound, 12 volt. So these are the little clamps I was talking about, and now I gotta take the cables off of the motor. So my boots are pretty bad. I'll be buying some different boots eventually, but for right now I'm just doing a quick fix. So I'm going to use the old boots. The only reason I'm using deep well is because they're standard. I had standard deep wells on me, so that's what I'm using. So you can see part of the refurbish I did is I went ahead and I ground all the corrosion off of these. You can tell it had been sitting in the sun for a while. Everything's faded and worn out, probably on the front of somebody's Jeep without a cover. So there's your old solenoid housing right there. So that's junk. It's pretty old. And now we'll go ahead and put the new one on. All right, you can see, pretty simple really. The only thing I have to do now is just hook these wires up and she's ready to roll. So I'm gonna stop the video here and go. I'm gonna have to obviously get the documentation off the internet, seeing how they didn't send it to me. And then we'll hook these wires up. I mean, just by looking at it, you can pretty much assume that this one goes here and these two right here go right here and here. Now, in my previous experience of hooking the old solenoids up wrong, basically if you switch these two wires, your forward and reverse just gets messed up. So you'll be going forward and you'll be pushing the forward button and the winch is actually going in reverse. So I'll stop the video, go get the documentation, and then we'll resume from there and give her a shot and see if she works. So I went ahead, took me about 5 minutes. I printed off this wiring diagram. Well, it's sort of a wiring diagram. This is what we're working with. You can see the new solenoid here. I'll put you over here so I can point to it here. The new solenoid looks like this. It's actually a square housing about this big, that big. It's got a little bit different terminal connection. And as I assumed earlier, this is how the wires go. So we'll go ahead and get this wired up and give her a turn. So align your drawing the same way that your motor is. That way you can get your F connections right. So A goes right here. And I'm going to use the old boots till I get new ones. Not that they're going to do any good. All right, now on this wiring diagram, it actually shows it says winch ground screw. That might be right here, I'm not sure. But what I did with the previous one is I just grounded it right here. It's not a very great ground. I don't know if that was supposed to come out, but that's what I'm gonna roll with it here. We'll see if we get a good ground. It's debatable. Hook that up just like that. And then I'm gonna go get a set of jumper cables and we'll power her on and see if she works, hopefully. I went ahead, I got my jumper cables. These are really crappy ones. So you gotta be careful that you don't short yourself out. You're gonna have a real bad day. So go ahead, positive to positive, negative to negative. We'll see if this works here. And when I hook mine up, because I don't have any gloves on, you want to make sure you're not holding them both at the same time. So I tried to buy some at auction the other day, but I got bid out. I wasn't going to pay a bunch of money for another pair of crappy jumper cables. So positive to positive on your winch, and then negative to ground. This is important because if you don't have a good ground, your winch isn't going to work. So I'll try to simulate a bad ground and see if that works. But first we'll try to go for the gold and see if the new solenoid works. So the ground I generally use is just those clamps that we use to put the solenoid onto the winch. So go ahead and get a grip there, and then if this thing's, I'll try it like this. So here's the new remote here. Plug her in, pretty easy, and let's see if she works. Whoa, she works. All right, cool. So, and I got a good ground too. See what happens if I have a bad ground, or no ground for that matter. So nothing. Sometimes the solenoids will click if you got a really bad one. Okay, it's good ground. I guess it's just gonna work no matter what I do. Bad ground. So one thing I learned when I talked to Warren is how to diagnose your winch problems. Obviously in that case there was no sound. If you have a bad solenoid or a bad ground, it'll click. It's like I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, but you'll hear clicking in your solenoid. And if you're hearing clicking in your solenoid, but you got a good ground, you know your solenoid is good, and the next thing to do is to troubleshoot your motor. And they actually gave me a diagram on how to troubleshoot your motor by bypassing the whole solenoid and hooking the battery directly up to your motor terminals. So that's the next thing. If your motor works, then you come back to the solenoid, and your solenoid's probably bad, so you need to get a different solenoid. So that's all I have for the, what is it, the 8724, I keep forgetting. This is a really, really good winch. It's super, super fast. It's got a ton of pull, and they're bulletproof. These are absolutely bulletproof winches. That's why I bought it, for the reliability, and most importantly for the speed. I'm not using it like a normal 4x4 person uses it. I'll be doing a video later on showing you how I use my new log loading contraption that I got built. I actually did a video on the whole construction of it, and the theory and design and all that stuff. I actually have the design right here. So if you're interested on how I'm doing it, go ahead and watch those videos. I did a bunch of time-lapse stuff on the construction. It took me about 10 hours to do the whole thing, and I figure the whole loading with this method will save me at least 2 hours every time I cut trees, so it's well worth it. It'll also save me a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, because it's really a lot of work to try to load your logs on the trailer. I actually put a video out quite some time ago on the old method that I used with the come along. So that's it for the winch. I'm super stoked that I got it working now. Supposedly this new solenoid is supposed to be way better than the old ones, as far as the failure rate and the duty cycle and how long you can run it and stuff like that. If you're really going to be pulling a whole bunch of stuff, you know, like all day long, kind of tow trucks type stuff, you really need to go to the next level, which is going to be your hydraulics. So I didn't want to run a PTO and hydraulic tank, separate engine, and all that other business, just a winch log. So I'm going the conventional old, you know, the way that works quick and fast, and that's just a battery way. I'm using deep cycle batteries to run my winch. There's actually, I'm going to be running different ones. This is my dad's. This is a Marine deep cycle. Craftsman actually puts out a really good deep cycle battery. It's about 240 bucks, I think. You can run it to dead and back, and it'll just keep going. They're kind of like golf cart engine or golf cart motors, golf cart batteries. I'm sorry. They're meant to be drained and recharged. So if you're going to be running a winch like this off a battery, you're going to want a deep cycle battery. So that's I'll let you go with that. Hope that was informative. And if you have one of these winches, you're going to enjoy it. Great winch. So I'll see you on the next video.